Alright, hey guys, so today's video is going to feature a basic comparison with some of the specs and similarities, differences between 6 of the more commonly found snowblower models on the market today from your big box stores, right? November 30th, we just had about 4 to 5 inches of snowfall, first substantial snowfall here in Michigan for the season. And we're going to just cover some of those specs and then also some of the negative reviews from each. I did a thorough search for a lot of the recent reviews within the last year for some of these models. So we'll kind of go over that together here. But something to consider for all these models, they're all 24-inch two-stage snowblowers. They all have the same throw distance roughly. They're all self-propelled with the 6 forward speeds, 2 reverse, some sort of electric start fashion. They all have clearing tools, right, to help clear out those jams. And then, a lot of them complain about clearing the heavy and wet snow at the end of the driveway. Okay, so it's kind of one of those things where, yeah, everyone's going to have some kind of issue with it. If it hardens and turns kind of ice, almost, if you let it sit there, if it freezes. But so I didn't really consider that too much. Same with the maneuverability. You're going to get people that say, "Oh, it's too heavy. It doesn't have enough weight to it," or some people say it's not, or it's too light. It doesn't have enough weight to it, or it's too heavy and it's hard to maneuver through the snow and stuff. Well, I mean, it's a snowblower. What do you expect? It's not some kind of Audi Quattro that you're really trudging through the snow and trying to get the best traction possible. So that's just something to consider. And they all have about 12-inch of snow clearing capabilities, handling about 20-inch drifts. So first 3 models here we have Craftsman, Toro, and Murray. Price point on these you can kind of see on the display, typically $900 to about $1,100 on these models. Engine, Craftsman 208cc, Toro 212cc, and the Murray 208cc with the Briggs & Stratton. So very similar engine size displacement. A lot of them talk about the chute control, the range. 180 to 200 is typically what I see for these. Tires, that's something else to take a look at. They're either, for all these models, 6 of them, they're either, the 3 on the next page that you'll see here, they're either 13-inch or 15-inch tires. The augers are 11 or 12-inch. So those are all very similar. Toro and Murray are going to have your 15-inch tires. And then when it comes to height of the unit is kind of all over the place too. 44 inches for Craftsman, 42.5 Toro, and 44 for Murray. Now when you see intake height, they're all going to be 20 or 21 inches through all 6 models. So that's very similar as well. And then the weight, right? Weight is kind of similar here, anywhere from 178 to 186. Okay, except on the next page, something really stands out I want to show you. One thing that is different as well, I found, is all over the place, the size of the fuel tank. 0.37 gallons versus 0.78 for Toro and then 0.8 for Murray. So on the bottom here, you're going to see a lot of the negatives that I found. Craftsman auger pins break easily, the belt wheel, the chute clearer attachments, and the belt come loose. Cheap components. Someone mentioned that the gas tank was loose and some of those rings broke off. What do you expect, right? They're cheap parts, right? Keep the weight down, keep the cost down, essentially, is really what it's for. But when we go over to the Toro, you're going to see the polypropylene chute, just like this, well, similar to the steel chute on the Craftsman, but a lot of them have, that you see aftermarket, are like those cheap plastic chutes that just break and they're just horrible, right? Horribly designed. But a lot of these have warranties too, so just keep that in mind. But for the Toro, people are complaining about the electric starter. There's no cover on it. The joystick, as you see at the very top of this model, almost reminds me of some kind of like aviation game or flight simulator, or even like a Atari game. But some people say they like that. That quick stick chute control, it's a single hand operation. Some people don't like it. Someone said there's some transmission leaks on these, and the controls and the self-propel on this are a little bit more difficult to learn. So those are some of the negatives. What I did find about Toro, it has some special features on there, I think it's a patented anti-clogging system, and then they have a hardened gearbox for the auger, so typically it just prevents damage on the engine, right? So if you come into contact with something hard like cement or concrete or some kind of big boulder or something, the engine will actually stop, which will it'll just shut off, right? Just to prevent damage on the engine. So I thought that was kind of nice. And then, again, that stick chute control at the top is a little bit different than some of the other models. But as we go to the Murray, lack of labeling for the choke. Sorry, the screen's cut off there. Some of the durability on the components, of course, is pretty similar across the board too. Some of the design flaws when it comes to the right side of the lever, you can't really see that, but people are saying that it becomes loose over time, and then just some quality control issues right out of the box is where people are complaining about. But most of these have pretty good reviews. So we go to the next slide here. The next three models, we have Cub Cadet, Ariens, Compact, and then the Troy-Bilt. So price point on these, 1,000 to 1,100 on these. We start with the Cub Cadet 208cc versus the Ariens 208cc, and then the Troy-Bilt is the same specs as well. Tire size, 13-inch tires on all of these specifically. Again, 12-inch or 11-inch augers on these. Oh, before I forget, we go up to the warranty. They're all 3 years, 3-year limited warranties on these. The Cub Cadet mentioned a 1-year commercial warranty, so that's something to consider. One thing that stands out to me, we have height 38, 43, 25. The height on the Troy-Bilt is really, really low. I wonder if it's got some expandable height adjustment. Not really sure. I don't think it does, but again, the intake height 20 to 21. The weight on the Cub Cadet, I don't understand. Why 266? Any of you have any thoughts on this? I mean, it's not a typo. It's literally what it says. But I don't understand why that's typically like 60 to 75 pounds higher than most other models. I don't understand, especially when they're all made from pretty much the same components, right? It's got a high impact polymer chute, so that's going to be probably a little more durable. But aluminum gearbox on the Cub Cadet and the Ariens, and then nothing else specific on the Troy-Bilt. 200-degree chute. Most of them are around that range, right? 191 weight on the Troy-Bilt, 180, and then the 266 on the Cub Cadet. I don't understand that. That seems crazy. People are complaining about this 0.25 gallon size fuel tank on the Cub Cadet. That's really small capacity. You got to keep refilling that up. That's kind of a negative, right? As mentioned in the reviews. 0.375 on the Ariens, and then half a gallon on the Troy-Bilt. So Cub Cadet, negative reviews. People are complaining about the starting and fuel system design, rough idle complaints, carb replacements after a couple years I saw. Again, cheap plastic, the shear pins break a lot. It's pretty common with a lot of snowblower models and a small gas tank. People were saying that they've had issues with if it's not great over for 8 inches. But, everyone's going to have such a different experience. When it comes to the Ariens, they had the highest rated reviews from what I found. Biggest complaints, one-wheel drive, so the traction issues on that. The oil fill is a little bit inconvenient. Someone complained that, after a year, the rust buildup was quite significant. Loose hardware, design flaws, and the inlet cap for the extension cord for the electric start, I guess. There's no cap for that, but I think one of the other ones mentioned that too. No throttle control. I think there's someone else that mentioned that as well. I'll just say here on the Troy-Bilt. Electric start on the Troy-Bilt issues. The manual, someone's complaining about the manual again. You can't even read it. Oil dipstick reading is very difficult. The chute control and the choke design have flaws in them. No throttle control. Leaky gearbox and starting issues. So those are pretty much it when it comes to the snowblowers. Now let me know what model you have, or what you're looking at in the comments below. If you purchase any of these, what kind of issues you're running into, and then let me know in the comments below. But that's it for now. Stay tuned for more videos. Please be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.